In Greenberg also we witnessed, because daily or perhaps every second day, transport of clothing would come, apparently from Auschwitz or perhaps from other camps, and the clothing was torn into bits by something called the krempel, and those bits then were recycled to the type of threads to weaving material. And I used to walk by during the night, because I worked mostly on the night shift, and saw that. And sometimes I thought I spotted my mother's coat, but then I thought a lot of people wore black coats. And it was usually in those nights that I used to paint my homecoming, which was sort of a picture that helped one survive. And those pictures usually surfaced in the darkest moments. And I always imagined how I would come home last. And sometimes I thought I'd come home during the night and I will not wake them. But then I knew I'd be much too impetuous, and I probably would. And my mother would appear at the door wearing a black housecoat with yellow flowers, which I particularly liked on her, even though I knew that we had long sold it for a loaf of bread and a pound of margarine. But it's a miracle of the homecoming, it all would be there. And I will appear, and my father would be there, and then my mother would say, "Go wake up Arthur, you know, he never gets up on time." And I would run up. And that sort of dispelled the noise of the krempel, which was tearing the cloth from Auschwitz.
One morning we came out, and the first thing we saw was that there are no guards in the guard towers. So we are sneaking between the barracks towards the gate, and lo and behold, nobody's there. So we get enough courage to go to the gate, and we notice there's a heavy chain with a padlock on it, and it's a very, very foggy morning, and we are just dumbfounded. All of a sudden there's a break in the fog, like a mirage, and all you see is two horses with a horseman. As he's coming closer, one of the Polish kids says to me, "Look at his hat," and it was a red star, a Russian soldier. He comes to the gate and he says, "I'm advance guard, nobody can leave the camp because there are all sorts of diseases, you're full of lice and you haven't been washing for months." But he says, as he takes out his gun, shoots off the padlock, "Doctors will be coming, medication will be coming, food will be coming very shortly." So the three of us, as fast as our skinny legs can carry us, we go to every barrack in the vicinity, open up the door in every language that we know, just yell in, "We are free, we are free." And you'll never forget that moment, the sounds from the barracks. Those who are able to walk out to the sunlight, walk out. Those who can't walk are crawling out. I have to pass through a little area where there are little bungalows. And this is where the SS families were staying. And they must have left in a big hurry, because I go into one of the bungalows and I open up the closet, the clothing in there. Open up the pantry, food. And then I go into the bathroom and I turn on the water, hot water, fluffy towels, shampoo, soap I haven't seen for a year. I make a little victory dance on my prison uniform, get in there and take my first hot shower in a year. It's wonderful.
"1933 was a critical turning point in history and in the history of the story of the Holocaust. The Nazis came to power via democratic means and then proceeded to use the machinery of democracy to dismantle democracy and ultimately to pursue those whom they defined as their archenemy and the ultimate evil, and those were the Jewish people. At the time the Nazis came to power, there were approximately 16 to 17 million Jews in the world, of whom there were about 9 million in Europe at the time, and in Germany itself, approximately 500,000 or slightly more than that. According to the Nazis' racist, biological, anti-Semitic view of the world, the German people, who were part of the Aryan race as they defined it, were the epitome of mankind. They were the most creative, the most cultured, the best in their spirit. They contributed the most to humanity. They were the builders of culture and society. And in that view, the Jews were the exact opposite, the inverse of humanity. They were the destroyers, they were the parasites, they were the devil incarnate, as the Nazis viewed them. They described them as microbes or germs that destroy the human body from within. And as such, the Jews, as a not quite human creature, but in human form, posed to the Nazis in their sinister power that the Nazis imagined the greatest threat to Germany and to the world.
Una vez detectado, registrado y segregado, un judío será detenido. Firmará la cesión de todas sus posesiones, que pasarán a ser propiedad del Reich. Con una maleta y 50 marcos en efectivo será llevado a un remoto entronque de ferrocarril, donde será ubicado en un vagón para ser trasladado a su destino final.
El plan de Eichmann es demoníaco, pero ingenioso en cuanto a su precisión. Utilizando la red de ferrocarriles europeos, prepara el trabajo de base para una auténtica proeza de coordinación. La operación crea nuevos empleos para los alemanes. Expansiona la industria del acero, no solo para cubrir las necesidades de fabricación de armamento, sino también para la ampliación de las nuevas líneas de ferrocarril. Los vagones que llevan su cargamento humano a los campos regresan cargados de mercancías para ser despachados a todo el continente. Se trata de una operación comercial cuidadosamente planeada e inspirada en una confabulación para cometer un asesinato en masa.
Hiding in the shadows of Buenos Aires under an assumed identity, Eichmann was abducted and smuggled to Israel, where he became the first Nazi to be indicted by the newly formed Jewish state. His charge? The systematic, cold-blooded murder of 6 million men, women, and children.
People who went to his trial expected to see an evil monster.
The audience is shocked. They're confused. This is supposed to be the devil incarnate, but he's just a man.
He doesn't look the part because he's balding, he's wearing thick glasses. He doesn't look like a fanatical Nazi or a mass murderer.
La pregunta que se planteó Arendt tras asistir personalmente al proceso judicial que se estaba llevando a cabo fue la de cómo se podía resolver el dilema entre lo que ella denominaba el execrable horror de los hechos cometidos, el Holocausto, y la innegable insignificancia del hombre, Eichmann, que los había perpetrado.
Otto Adolf Eichmann nació en Solingen, Alemania, el 19 de marzo de 1906. Cuando tenía 8 años de edad, la madre de Eichmann fallece y la familia se traslada a Linz, Austria, donde su padre se vuelve a casar. Viven en un apartamento del segundo piso del número 32 de Landstrasse. La madrastra de Eichmann es una mujer severa y dominante. Su padre trabaja en la compañía de tranvías y electricidad en el número 6 de Museumstrasse. Adolf Eichmann es retraído, un muchacho solitario y sin amigos. En la escuela lo ridiculizan por su tez oscura de aspecto casi semítico. Burlonamente sus compañeros de clase le llaman Der kleine Jude, el pequeño judío.
Para resolver este dilema, decía Arendt, solo había dos opciones: o bien pensar que Eichmann era un cínico y un mentiroso y considerar que todo lo que estaba diciendo y todas las justificaciones y explicaciones que estaba dando en el juicio eran mentiras manipuladas, que no era el caso, decía ella, o intentar hacer un esfuerzo por comprender cómo un individuo que era normal desde el punto de vista psiquiátrico, a Eichmann le examinaron diferentes psiquiatras, que no mostraba rasgos de sadismo, sino todo lo contrario, que manifiestamente le repugnaba de manera sincera la violencia, que era buena persona, era un padre cariñoso, era un buen marido y que además ni siquiera se consideraba especialmente antisemita. Él hablaba tranquilamente que había tenido amigos judíos y declaraba no tener nada en contra de ellos. ¿Cómo era posible entonces, planteaba Arendt, que alguien así hubiese sido uno de los mayores responsables del Holocausto?
And I am satisfied in my self-examination that I tried to find other solutions, peaceful solutions. And after the Wannsee Conference, I made it a point not to make any decisions, no matter how minor, on my own initiative and without the orders of my superiors.
La respuesta para Arendt estaba en lo que ella denominó la banalidad del mal, es decir, cómo en determinadas circunstancias y cómo en determinados contextos los seres humanos podemos caer en la mediocridad más banal, que consiste en renunciar a aquello que nos es distintivo y que nos define como humanos, que es nuestra capacidad de pensar. Y cómo el hecho de dejar de ser críticos y de abandonar nuestra disposición para juzgar y valorar lo que hacemos y el mundo que nos rodea puede ser el causante de atrocidades con consecuencias devastadoras, como en este caso el Holocausto.
After a trial that had lasted some 4 months, Adolf Eichmann has had his defense rejected. He's been judged guilty of the major crimes in this indictment.
Particulars of offence. The accused, together with others, during the period 1939 to 1945, caused the killing of millions of Jews in his capacity as the person responsible for the execution of the Nazi plan for the physical extermination of the Jews, known as the final solution of the Jewish problem.
While waiting for the result of her husband's appeal, Mrs. Eichmann flew to Germany, where with her 6-year-old son she was taken on a sightseeing tour by the daughter of an American rabbi. Among the places she visited was this beer hall in Munich, from which the first Nazi putsch was organized. A morbid experience for yet another human being whose life has been caught up by the consequences of Nazi fanaticism. Only a few days later, Eichmann's appeal to the Supreme Court was rejected. Following the failure of his plea to the Israeli president, Adolf Eichmann paid the supreme penalty.